production. And tonight's special guest is Alaskan Hazy IPA. And it is 6% alcohol, which is a little above. But you can get IPAs to be pretty far up there. And so it is 6, almost 7 o'clock here, so perfect time for a beer. And since this is my day not to be late, thought I'd come on a little early. Very strange behavior I just watched. Chilly here. Hey, run it up. What's happening? It is chilly up here. I mean, 44 degrees chilly. It makes me wonder because last week at this time we had almost 80, but rainy and cool yesterday. Then, of course, everything that happened yesterday. Today is really cool. Tomorrow's supposed to snow. Not really stick, but supposed to snow. So it's just funny that during these said events, it is cool up here. It is cool. Now, one thing I'll get into, there is a curfew in 4 of the counties north of me. Minneapolis is in Hennepin. I think Hennepin County is still covered under Brooklyn Center. Yeah, under Brooklyn Center, Hennepin is still in Brooklyn Center, but the ones, Anoka, Dakota, and Ramsey. Ramsey is closer to the St. Paul side. So all these places are going to be under curfew, I think, at 7 our time. 7 or 8. Now, it's not this far south. Basically, what the curfew means is you got to be up in the crib. That is what they pushed here. You have to be up in the house here. So that's kind of what's going on up here after yesterday's events. So I've been trying to stay a little bit on top of the coverage and might even have to go up there. But the weather, my point is the weather is going to make a difference in the effectiveness of people protesting. So, and like I made a video, is it to the point where, and this is how revolution is started, and I say this in one of my videos, revolution is started when the army steps aside. When the army steps aside, that's how revolutions are started. Now, the police could step aside or the army. Hey, Jesse Lynn, thank you. Hey, Brother James, how are you? So that's a possibility. Now, probability, I'll say not, but that is how revolution started, is when the soldiers step aside and let the people go. Now, I don't know if I released my video on Family Dollar, like that just makes no sense. It makes you seem like you're not even human. What point is that? And then they said they broke into a Little Caesars. Now, obviously, maybe a little money, but most of them have safes of some sort for that kind of thing. But if you guys missed it, 4 counties up here are going to be under curfew, I think at 8 o'clock, because they like to rally. They're supposed to have a rally there. And all the counties are north of me. It's Brooklyn Center is in Hennepin, the same as Minneapolis, but also Ramsey, Dakota, and Anoka, all northern, more northern. And Ramsey is part of St. Paul. Ramsey is St. Paul. So St. Paul is even under, St. Paul is even under curfew. Yeah, I think Ramsey is under St. Paul. So even St. Paul is under curfew. And maybe I just missed another video. My videos cut like it's a couple more scenes, and this is where I think it sounds like a setup. The part that's a setup is, number one, is the right hand people have the tasers on the left hand. Now I pointed that out before. You have your taser on your left hand if you right-handed, because you cross draw it. You cross draw it. For a right-hand person, you'll be in a position where you cross draw it. I would have been just able to regular draw it, but I think they're taught to cross draw. and you have your service revolver here. It's no difference. Now, I really think that she hollers taser to get away out. I really think that she hollers taser to get away out. That's what it seems to me. I'll tase you, and you reach for your service revolver. He's not. This is the thing, and it could all be an act, a necessary evil. But this is the thing. Under what situation was he a threat to your life? He never went for his gun, and so this seems to be a continuing narrative to try to start some type of racial tension, because it's almost a replay of what we've seen up here, 2 other cases. And right in the midst of this other case, one thing that somebody brought up, Gabe, one thing that no one's brought up is in the mid. Okay, one part is that was brought up in the interview was that right now tags, you kind of got a thing with tags, like where people could put tags on their car. There's a backup. You got it. Most places you have to make an appointment and then get it done. So expired tabs is really, unless it's a year, it's something that most people are letting go. Matter of fact, in the area of Shakopee, still in my county, if you get stopped over there, like a broken tail light, a headlight, they'll give you the money. They'll give you a citation, but no, they give you a voucher to get what's fixed. So if you had one of them, even a tail light, like a license plate light, they'll give you money instead of giving you a ticket. They'll give you money to get the shit fixed. And you just got to get the shit fixed. Hey, peace, soap. Gabe, you think Zachary is, I've said this before, not all his information is like that. Not all of it is misinformation. I just think he does have a side. That's all. What motherfucker don't have a side? He has a side, and that's that. I think he makes it clear what side he's on. So I got no problem with Zach like that. But some of the stuff is good. I mean, I was just listening to what is his name? Oh my goodness. I am so bad with remembering names. But the brother that talks about the rappers that died, that brother, I have to look him up to remember his name. But I think like he presents the information as I think in a more fluid matter. And then that Rambo cat is the best of that group to me. Rambo is better than both of them. Far as Rambo puts he really sees the attack on the divine feminine. And he mentions these attacks and how it's embarrassing. He mentioned the stuff about Solomon that it kind of goes to what my brother teaches, is the stuff about Solomon that they're afraid of it and all that. So it's, that's the kind of thing that we're facing all of this attack all at once. So yeah, that's my answer is like some of the stuff I understand it's cool, but some other stuff I don't totally, agree. And that's how it should be with everybody. Yeah. Infinite consciousness. Yeah. Watch his thing on DMX, infinite consciousness. I'll be forgetting. But that brother puts the ritual of all the season. But what we're seeing now is even more than a ritual. What we're seeing is the violence in action. And I do a video that talks about how Biden is saying peaceful demonstration after violence. I mean, that's some oxymoron ass shit. You have violence put on the neighborhood, yet the response is supposed to be peace. Not will help you from being not a victim, not any of that. Your response against violence should be peaceful. So violence is put on people, and you're supposed to respond peacefully. What do you call that, guys? What is that called everywhere? Pac-Man. Well, thank you. So that's the answer. Hey, Charlie Murphy. Came up here a little early. What kind of different rituals are there? Yes, oxymoron. Exactly, Jesse. What kind of different rituals? This is a ton of rituals can be done. But these are two rituals in one. And I mean, part of it is trying to spike the race war. And let me say this too, something I probably didn't mention. Someone had read my comment and said, yeah, the African side of town. That's what somebody read my comment, and that's what he put on one of my videos in the comments. And he's right. I failed to mention that. Again, I've talked about it, how they had to bring the Somalian people over here because the family they backed over in Sudan, Mogadishu, that Black Hawk Down, the family they backed got defeated. And I've talked about this many times of people in their country, what they do to the people that work for the opposite side of who won. And you are treason on your people. If you understand that's easy to understand. You had these people that helped try to overthrow you. And now we've beat them out of here. And this is who's left. Now, how do you think those people would be treated? And so Americans was allowed to take them out of there. Just like they had done the Hmong before. Didn't bring the Mountain Yard people here, but brought the Hmong here. And then a lot of South Vietnamese are here too. So that's the area that they did that up. It's mostly people from Sudan up there. It is one of the bigger areas where they live. I mean, they've put them everywhere. Not as much down here. Not as much. Eden Prairie, yes. But city, yes. But that area, again, how they try to do it, that when they start selling stuff. Like I've talked about, the Mary Tyler Moore building is what they call it here. It had, to me, one of the best penthouses I had ever been in on places here. And it is now probably Section 8. It was like a 4-bedroom, laid out on the top of this about 28, 30-story building. And you had it faced west, like west, northwest. But this is like, that building is filled up with people from Somalia. And those pockets. So it has that pocket out in Brooklyn Center, and it has that pocket that Omar, I think Omar is under the one downtown, I know for sure. So that's something to consider as well. And you look at it was one of the brothers from Sudan that shot the jogger or the yoga lady. So you have all these dynamics to consider. So, but there are different kind of rituals. I guess I didn't answer your question. It just depends for what. That's a good taste. It just depends for what. Totalitarianism, powerful. Thank you. Very right. Totalitarianism. It is. But there's rituals for people that die a certain time or have to pay the business. And the ritual part of when these celebrities die or these famous people this is when they can do the most blood move on these perfect dates. This is how it's all put together. It's like, this is the magic that we can take them over. You pay your soul, but it has to be on these dates to start preparing to move it like that. So, when you eat dinner and you pray over the dinner, that's a slight ritual. But yeah, Hollywood is a whole different thing. Hollywood it just depends on how deep you get into it. It depends how quick you can make a whisper into a whirlwind. That's kind of how fame is, because you become a whisper, but how quick can you push that whisper through? And when you pushing that whisper through, how many stops you got to make to get some extra wind? Are you just strong enough to push it through? There are people like they call one-hit wonders that can just push it through and be there. And then later on, if they want to continue, the things start popping up. Shaking ritual, shaming rituals. Oh yeah. Hey Adrian, thank you for joining me. Your own personal, you do your own ritual. That's right. Getting up and getting ready to go to work. You're doing it repeatedly, and that's kind of what a ritual is, something you do repeatedly. Work, you giving them energy when you work, or whatever you do to support yourself. That's the work. So, and the shaming part is, like we saw the young brother, that was his coming out. We see it in a lot of people, a lot of dudes later that have very hard masculine roles. At one point in their career, they wear a dress. Some movies they play, the whole thing. Remember, Wesley Snipes played the whole movie like that. But it was others. I mean, you get into Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon, and Some Like It Hot with Marilyn Monroe and James Manfield. So we've seen it for a long time. And a lot of people think that's the only way to make it. Oh, it's very scripted. Hey, KJ. But I don't know. I just look at this event today or yesterday, and I'm just wondering. Again, it's a bad look, looting Family Dollar. That's a bad look. That's a bad look. I think the liquor store out there got looted. It's not a very big shopping area where it happened. Like going from the north side, you have a couple little strips, but no big stores. It's like a strip here, a strip there. There's a lot of cars out there. That is one thing that's out there. It's a lot of cars, a lot of car dealerships. I think I mentioned before, my ex, last time we went out there, she bought a car. And I drove her. One of the cars I had to take back. I forget. I had to drive out there for something. Oh, but this one, the dude might have died. But what's interesting again is the thing. The information moves so fast. Like the young brother's pictures got put out there already. That was the first thing you wake up to, and that puts a face to it. That puts a different energy to it. Again, I think the weather, now right now it's not raining, but it's cool. I think the weather is another thing that, like tomorrow is supposed to snow. And they're talking about the defense for the other case is about to end. Chauvin's case is the defense is about to rest. And his people are going to start talking. How far were you from the shootings? Yeah, the shooting was, I'm about 50 minutes. About 50 minutes. I'm probably, about 30 miles, something like that. 30, 40 miles, about 50 minutes. I have to go, pretty much I have to circle the west of the city to hit a way that'll take me east, and then I'd have to hit east for so many miles to go back north. It's kind of like that for me. I head west, then from west have to go north, and so it's about 40 minutes for me. But it's a big African community there. And you saw the mayor. I'm pretty sure the mayor is an African brother. That's just kind of what it looked like looking at him. Not sure, but it wouldn't surprise me if he was. But the city manager came on there, and the city manager said that somebody asked the police. Okay, so remember that the mayor said he thought the person should get fired. The chief did the legal thing with the union. The chief said, well, we're going to let it play out. But after today's statement, don't be surprised if something like that happened. I mean, he put the proper legal, I like that about it. He put the proper legal wording. The mayor just said straight up, but the chief did what he's supposed to do. So I was like, yeah, he crumbled a little bit, but that part he was right. And but the city manager came on and said, the person was going to get due process. That's what the city manager said. They asked city managers, that is an officer going to be fired? And the police chief said, or no, the city manager said, after the mayor saying now, the mayor said he supported letting that employee go right now. The city manager said, again, this chick's in the union. They saying she's a veteran. We know it's a woman. It's a veteran police officer. You see her in a reflection a couple times. Some of you who got better TVs, you can probably catch her on reflection. But he said she's going to get due process. And an hour later, they said he got fired. They fired the city manager. I didn't see what the city manager said was wrong. The city manager said it. That's right. And the city manager was a brother. Again, I think probably an African brother. And he got fired. And he wasn't making little bread. He was making some pretty decent bread. So these are some intense times. Oh, and they canceled all the games. They canceled the games. The Twins game probably got canceled because of the weather. The weather's been kind of rainy all day. But the Timberwolves ain't gonna play tonight, and the Wolves, all of them played at home, and all of them canceled their games because Wolves played last night. Wolves was going to play again tonight, and I wonder if the game for uh, the Wolves was canceled last night. I wonder that because I ain't seen a Wolf game in a week or so, so I don't know what's going on. The mayor's scared, and people don't know what's going to happen. It's a lot of people already. We 2 weeks from the end of we 2-3 weeks from the end of this stuff, from the end of Chauvin, and like they asked the chief. They said one of the reporters hit the chief hard. One of the reporters straight up said, "Don't you know there's a backlog on getting your license? Sometimes to go to the DMV, you got to make appointments now. There's a few you can go into." But he was like, most of the time. So this is off, with all this COVID stuff, this is pretty much overlooked. But he pretty much said, don't you teach your people that there's a backlog of license. So it's not uncommon to see expired license. And it's pretty much let it go. And the chief said, yeah, I heard about it. And then the dude hit him with, did you tell your people? He's like, yes, I told my people. It's like, okay. He told his people. But these cats in these wigs crack me up. When you watch TV, it's all these dudes wearing wigs. They'll spray their hair. Oh, my goodness, it's so funny. It is so funny. The Paul Pierce thing, see, this is what's interesting with the Paul Pierce thing. I know I might have made a mistake and said that Paul Pierce knew he was going to get fired. I think Paul Pierce wanted to get fired. So he wanted to get fired. And that was just his way of getting out. He was like just laughing at him. I mean, it's kind of cool when that's not a lot of power when you're like a 50 to 100 millionaire and you just lost a job where you might have made a couple million a year, 2 million, 2 million, travel, all that paid for and stuff. But just it's easy for that brother to move smoother instead of fat Jason Whitlock, who again, his presentation would look so bad. But Pierce laughing at him. Pierce is like I don't know. He laughed at him, which I thought was kind of brilliant with Paul Pierce. Hey, Big L, what's happening? So that's a lot that's going on today down here. Again, I live so far south, the riots didn't even make it down here. But where my one son lived, he did live near that area. So, and I remember seeing a cop sitting somewhere today, and I was like, "You really gonna do traffic today? You really gonna do traffic?" And they're gonna already that Crump is already talking to the parents, and this is what they said about Crump. They said Crump got to Floyd's 27 million. They said Crump's calling the people, the money thing. Again, this is a poor area, not poorer, but a smaller city. This is one of the smaller cities, smaller suburbs, and then you can look up how many people, but it ain't. And I mean, it may be 50 to 70,000. I'm not sure, but it's not a great big community. A lot of land. He might have wanted to get away from the mouse. There you go. Hey, Big L, thank you for joining me, though. And so it's a lot of different ways to look at it. There's really a lot of messed up ways to look at it. Now, I don't know if the numbers, how accurate the numbers were, but it's something like the melanated people in this area, out of 3.5 million, even if you want to just say 3 million, the melanated people only are about combined less than 1 million. Combined less than 1 million melanated people. And that's including the Mexican brothers and sisters and the Indians. It's about 1 million maybe compared to 2 million. And most of them are here. Most of the melanated people pretty much live in this area. Far as a whole state, I'm saying, like if you expand it to the state, I'm talking about all the melanated people just in this area, So it's kind of outnumbered, quite a bit outnumbered. Yes, I do sometimes, Vince. I do most of the time. I do gamble. I wouldn't be surprised if Pierce get another somewhere. Yeah, they're gonna pick Pierce up. He's not terribly articulate, but he's improved. He has improved. So. But yeah, sometimes I do gamble, Vince, but I got my own people I gamble with. So I don't really need no help in that. Unless you got some picks to show or some shit. You got some picks to show. And what do you guys think? I mean, how do you feel, seeing this? I mean, they're doing a lot of the agenda. They did the something that happened months ago. Isn't it funny? Remember months ago, they just now showing the lieutenant is supposedly suing these people, and the dude just got fired today when they did the national commercial about it for, harassing a soldier. Here's a soldier in full fatigues, probably comes up because a lot of soldiers just have their military card license stuff. So that had to come up. I mean, am I wrong? Maybe because he was in the reserves or something. But I know military people carry just their regular military card for driving. I think last I knew. So why was he harassed? But the timing of it all, the timing of it all makes you question these kind of things. So, and like even how you flow, like we have Michigan again about to close down. Michigan is about to close down again. They're saying this is what they've just said that Biden cut off a lot of their vaccines supposedly, and so Michigan is not behind. And then we had all the contaminated vaccines. Remember, one company alone contaminated something like 15 billion vaccines. Now, I'm not going to say yay or nay. I think most people know my opinion, but I mean, again, for them trying to give the system, it seems like it's a breakdown and almost somewhat an attack on her, because remember, she could have been in that ticket. Now, I don't know if she would have gave the push the sister girl did, but she was considered. But it seems like almost an attack on her, but some kind of agenda, because they're saying Michigan is getting worse. The energy feeding, yeah, the one. The Army brother getting treated like the one of the few times I was pissed. The blue people are back in charge. You can tell. It's baiting at its finest. It's baiting. It is. It's baiting. One of the things that I put out on the video with Fall Up the Stairs Joe is he says coincidental. This coincidental event. It was no coincidence. Like I'm saying, she grabbing her pistol and saying tasers was an alibi. And you cross draw. I'm pretty sure that's how I'm just looking at the way the other guy had it rigged. He had it rigged for a cross draw, where because again, tasering is you're not thinking it's a big threat, not really, other than just running at you. But you tase somebody, and there are people that when they get tased, it don't affect them too. Those people exist. It's still daylight here. What is the 7:25? Really cloudy, and then supposed to have snow tomorrow. I put my boots up. I got to get all that stuff back out. Did you hear the news? The co-founder has been investigated by, and yeah, we talked about that in a minute. It's on my Facebook page. We talked about it and where she bought it, and the agenda and all the programs, where the money going to. It ain't going to men Black life. I'll say that they are not pushing any men Black life programs. I don't care about this 2-year-old girls. There's no outrage. Wow. Oh, I think I released the video. I know it was one I need to release that I did a few. Another one, we had a shooting here. People crashed into each other and were shooting at each other. Two dudes got killed. They don't know all the people. Some people took off, but two more shooting at each other. After all that's going on, brothers shooting at each other. So we had one here too. We had another shooting here. Yeah, Vince, I know, Zach. And you must be fairly new. Matter of fact, on Zach's call-in Wednesday show, I was like the third or fourth person to ever call. So when he first started, yeah. So where you been? You must don't know me. But you look like you got a question. So I got somebody told today, and it felt good. So I know these people be power hungry. I got somebody told. Oh, my mother, she hates doing that. She hates getting people told, but she got a little thing with some people, and she got them told. What's happening, Tiger Strong and Jeffrey? That's funny, read my soul. What's happening, though, if I didn't say it? What's happening? The one, what's happening? We don't still get it. Nah, it's you would think some of them beefs would go away. But it seems like things ain't really changing, and it's energy. It is an energy that's going around. And it's a fear, it's an unknown. I mean, we have a smallly occupied area. There's areas that are there that are now pretty occupied. I mean, what this really did, if you think about it, it extended the needed troops. If you look at that aspect of it, it gives the need for more troops, and they broaden their control bigger. And again, all these curfews, because they could make this curfew last until after the Floyd trial. They've already finally sequestered the jury up here. Or I know it's been they asked for it, but I thought I heard last, but I know they've been asked to be sequestered. So I mean, and shut down mean they put troops. They'll put troops on the highways. They'll shut the highways down. You understand? Which is technically military law, but they shut the highways down. You understand? They'll put that, and it's a curfew. They'll shut the highways down, so no traffic through these areas. And this is some of the biggest areas around here. Like to try to get out of here to go to 94. I think that's part of Wooddale back in there, like past 3M. I don't know, but it's a lot of military here. Because like you saw the news things I'm showing, you're seeing a lot more military backing them up. And when I had the Super Bowl and the Final Four, that's what I saw. That's what surprised me about the Floyd stuff. Like, where did all these people go? Because I knew they were here. It was a mini army during the Super Bowl and the Final Four. And it's like this Floyd stuff, where all them cops go? But we're kind of seeing them back now. Hey, Adolph, thank you for joining. It's crazy how everybody asks what is always your state. These Midwestern states is crazy. Yeah. What is the history of racism in your state? It wasn't no brothers and sisters here. I mean, you got to figure the killing that they did here. They did the killing, and this is a book that I lost that I hate that I lost. I should look it up again to see if I can get another copy. But a dude wrote a book on, we had a lynching in St. Cloud. There was a lynching in the state in St. Cloud in 21, maybe. Might have to look it up. But there's a plaques there now. And when I was last down there, we couldn't find it. My ex used to live down there and go to school, but she didn't know how to find it. And it got to rain and stuff too. We had been there. But there was a killing of 4 men. Like, you guys seen the telephone pole lynching? It's 3 dudes tied on the telephone pole. Y'all seen that picture, I'm sure. Where they're all, there's one on the ground and there's 2 still tied like to the telephone pole. Or maybe 2 on the ground. But originally they had tied these brothers up and they hung from the telephone pole. So they let him down to take the picture. But at first they murdered him. And this is, I've told this before, this is such an interesting thing, is these dudes was in a jail and these people literally tore down half of the jail to get to him, almost brick by brick. They took, big steel, I don't even know what you call those like 7-8 foot pieces of steel where you can just, chop into a wall, and crowbars, and they knocked 2 walls down, and then they knocked the walls down to get all 3 guys because the walls were all brick. So they couldn't get them through the bars, but so they knocked 2 walls down to knock all the walls down that separated them. And fought the police. The police didn't shoot anybody, but the police fought them. But they got overran and they tore it down brick by brick. And this is how they got to the men. And as it turns out, the girl that caused all the trouble really was never with the dudes. This girl had VD. None of the dudes had VD. But this other dude who was the one that roughed her up, he had VD. So she blamed some shit on these people and they murdered these people over nothing. So that kind of blood is on this state. And remember, out in the fort, I should point, the fort is this way. They hung 36 Dakota brothers. That kind of blood is up here. So what do you think they think about these melanated people? That shit still stands. You can still go into the area where all them people got hung at once. And you'll see that shit. You stand there and you see it. And you see these troops, the troops that say the following orders. And I'll tell the whole story. I've told that story before. The Dakotas killed about 1,000 of them people occupying their lands. And this was during the Civil War. A lot of dudes would join the army. They would keep them here to fight the Dakotas and the Lakotas. Like this lake here, they fought all up and down. And so finally, after telling on people and stuff, Lincoln wanted to kill 200 people. And then they finally telling on people. They hung 36 of them, 30 of them at least. According to Yahoo, they said the BL Greater New York chair questions how much co-founder has contributed to charity, talking about getting exposed by your own. That's jealousy, though, probably, too. I think all these military exercises, Army dude getting treated like he's seen fishes and the others shooting timely. Yeah, that's true. Well, thank you, Adolf. That's cool. I had asked because I thought I might be addressed. Oh. With the Army dude getting confronted by the cops. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I think I answered that. Adolf. I'm sorry, I didn't see it. I think I answered that about the cop up there. Same thing, according to you. Yeah, it's probably scripted and because of George Floyd shit going on. Who the hell would be bold to do that to an Army Ranger? Exactly. I can understand you couldn't see, but see, like the thing is once you walk up on the car and you saw the plate, your stop is really over. Because if you're saying that you stopped them because of bad taxes, in some cases, okay, this is really how it goes. Is like when you tell them you stop, a lot of times they have to put in their log why to stop, and you'll call out a code of what kind of stop. Now, not seeing the license, once you walk up on it, you see the tag there. That pretty much voids your stop of probable cause. Your probable cause is over right there. So when he went up there and the dude had information, that should have been all it was. And if he did have his Army ID, it should have been over right there. That's why in a way it seemed like an act in some ways, because that's really how I would have handled it. Because I realized that, oh, okay, here's the tag, see him. If he ain't wanted, dude is in his Army stuff. It's easy to go back and say, who's so-and-so, go back and let him go. You ain't got to talk to him that long. Like, oh, I didn't see the tag, that's why I stopped you. And you could just let him go right there. Now, granted, yeah, you don't necessarily know, but if you kind of have a little idea of how military looks and the way he was dressed, you see that this guy is in the military. So you can let him go. He show you the right paperwork, you let him go. You wouldn't even have to call him in. You just let him go. It's like, mistake. We saw the military. We wouldn't even have to mention it. He's like, we saw the tag. It was there. It was a temporary tag. We let him go. That's how it should have went. Hey, Chris, what's happening? Oh, it's about your state. Yeah. Oh, is an Army Ranger in my state? I didn't see that. Is an Army Ranger in my state? Oh, I didn't hear about that. Adolf, I didn't hear about an Army Ranger in my state. I'm sorry. I only heard about, the one in the other state that happened in June. They want a race war, and that's becoming a civil war in the same time as brewing. Yeah, Ukraine. Now that's caught me. Ukraine was interesting because they call them the Russian-backed rebels, and then we've got all the bases in China. So it seems like it might be interesting world conflict. This Floyd thing is going on, all these other hostilities. Make them fake, make them real. The one, it's fishy as fuck. It feels like COVID is done and they want control by any means. Good point, Read My Soul. That is a prime example of what we're seeing. Some kind of way to keep the fear going. That's why the big mandate in the mask. And then the weather changing, and Detroit is saying, they're going through being effective and closing down. You got this teacher stuff in these other states that's, purposely put out there saying teachers are scared to go back to work, don't really want to go to work. And what is work? So the history of the military folks in your state. Yeah, that's probably, the history starts with the Dakotas that was here first. Lakotas and the Dakotas. That's who was here. And so, being taken over and being pushed away. Like, even prime example where I live. This used to be their lake. This big lake used to be their lake. And now it ain't. They pushed on a reservation, and yeah, they put a big casino, but they ain't on the bigger lake. They pushed them off this lake, and this used to be all their land. That's what I love living here. This is holy land. This down here where this pink granite is. I know this gives me extra energy. I know it does. I feel it every day. It's pink granite down here, and it's the strongest vibrating stone. And I live amongst it, where it's a plenty. So again, if you look at you go by the number 3.5 million, it is only about 1 million melanated people. That would be compared to going to 2.5 million European folks, basically. So it's not a lot. It's not like, now I'll give an example. The Mall of America used to be a tourist thing. I'm shaking the camera. It used to be a tourist thing, the Mall of America. And if you went out there before COVID on like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, especially Saturday, you're not seeing a lot of melanated people. You just don't. And on Saturday, like 10 or 11, going out there noon, you would be stuck on the highway if you was trying to go out there. You'd have to wait when people leave. You'd be stuck on the highway. It'd be 100,000 people in this place. And you wouldn't see a whole lot of melanated people, not at all. Not out of 100,000. Again, this is tourists coming in, mostly. People live here, go to, individual malls. They don't have to go there, especially you don't live near there. Be stupid to drive all that way unless it's a specific store they had, something like that. But their store is just an outlet. For me, it's an outlet before the Mall of America, So I don't necessarily have to go at malls. But it ain't a lot of melanated people up here. Yeah, Ukraine is. I watched the thing. Ukraine is definitely remembering they just had the war games and the U.S. lost big. Wow. So I was talking about, brother. Oh, okay, yeah, that's all that's up here. It's not a lot, and that's the area where it happened. Again, I've described the north side. If you looked at the north side, it would go from north to south 100 blocks. You go north to south, well, not quite 100, but you would go about 83, 85 blocks, and you would go from A to Z plus. A to Z plus far as going. So that's 26, about 30 blocks going east, because you run into the river. So the river kind of cuts up part of the north side. But if you go into the extra area where it's Brooklyn Center, this is where they placed a lot of the Africans, a lot of the people from Sudan. So you're talking about another probably 60 blocks, maybe more. Whoa. Okay. I don't know what happened there. Can you hear me now? Check 1 2 1 2. Check. Yep. I think I'm back on. I don't know what happened there. Maybe push my phone over. Okay, back on. G7. Thank you. I missed somebody. Who'd I miss? Okay, yeah, something happened. Plugged the phone in and something was interrupted. So we just have to deal with it. It's a lot of work up here. I'll say that. Everybody's working a lot. They get to work. Everybody's moving. Let me see. I missed somebody. Ask a question. Sorry, I missed it. Yeah, I noticed when I killed the sound. Darwinian. Yes, bro. Darwinian. Okay. Welcome. Pressing too many buttons. I forgot about the computer because I've been going. Oh, okay. I've been going on about 40 minutes. It's not like when it was new. This computer about 2 years old now, so it needs extra juice. So it's the reason why I keep being in these rituals. Do we have a special type of energy for us that gives us energy to others? It's all it's profiling, absolutely. Like I was saying, the way they should have handled the army dude, he should have been just let go. You see a plate like that expire, you kind of profile, and then it's a brother. And say it was a European, some young European girls. Do you think they would stop some young European girls? And you see expired plate, and they look high school age. This dude looked a little older. So you have to wonder. And this is, I'm saying the suburbs are even less. Some of these suburbs, it ain't a whole lot of brothers. But this is the thing, down there is. There's a whole lot of, Africans and brothers down in that area. So they were probably profiled, gave him a reason to stop. I mean, absolutely gave him a reason to stop. I can't argue that. Expired plates is a reason, but under the circumstances, it should have been looked past. Tell you what, you try to drive around tonight, they ain't having it. Oh yeah, Rocky, I take off from doing the Chocolate Mountain Late Show 2 nights. So I come on early. I usually call it the sports, but I call it news because it's mostly news going on now. A lot of sports here are halted. Even the high schools. High school sports, I think the boys finals was going to be next week. So I wonder if that's going to still, because the girls, I want to say the girls was done last week. So these are the things going on up here. And I feel safe where I am. How do they pick or choose which stories to give exposure with the shootings? Well, something like this, they couldn't, with everything else going around here, that story wasn't going to be hidden. It was just no way. It was just no way it was going to be hidden. It's too volatile up here. People already protesting downtown almost every night already. So some of this stuff, they'd rather not go viral, as it's called, but it was no way to hold this in. It was no way to hold this in. So, this one where the mom, again, they didn't show the dad, but the mom, is European. The mom is European and like working class, looking European, like in her mid to early 40s. So, again, okay, the dude takes off. How far can he really go? I mean, there's no threat. That's the thing that got me. It's, again, no real threat. Now, again, it's going to be an excuse with the taser. The taser is just a building excuse. I'm going to keep repeating that. That's a building excuse. You ain't holding a gun. You when you grab a gun, you know a gun. You know your training. Oh, thank you. I'm going to be safe. I started realizing my own, so I know they're losing energy. Well, they are. And look, they are trying to turn things now because this thing is more desperate than ever. I mean, that's one thing you got to look at. A way of life has ended. A way of life has definitely ended. Now, the ones in charge, again, I said before, Exodus is their hell. The kind of thing they are is if they're not in charge, it's hell. Anything other than not being in charge is hell to them. So this is kind of what we're seeing why they tried to push things fast. Because the people, I mean, I think Floyd showed that people are kind of waking up. People was kind of pushing back against all this falsehood they put on us in this last year and harm. Falsehoods and harm. And so the people around the world fed up because they was all getting fed the same bullshit. And so it's been a pushback. So we see them excelling this shit. And it shouldn't be melanated against European. Shouldn't be that. Because there's friends on both sides. It's not just one side. It's not enough hate, I don't think. That's why I was saying when the soldiers turn away, that's revolution. And, do you feel this way about the people? Are the people that wrong that are angry? That's why looting is started by someone else. Because I showed a video on Family Dollar. That makes no sense. I mean, what really is in Family Dollar? It's worse. Looting Family Dollars is worse than looting Target. That makes the people look simple. That makes the people look broke. The dudes who hit the hair shop, okay, I understand. You went and got good clippers. Okay, I can see that. That's a target that I see. You knew good clippers was going to be in there. Okay, I feel that. I ain't saying I think it's right or wrong, but I'm saying, okay, that makes sense. Might be even some dough up in there. Sometimes business think with the alarms and everything that, but on a night like that, they respond a little slower. Hey, Jay, thank you for joining me. Yeah, I agree. I think this one was real. I can't really say why, but I think this one was real. I think he died. A lot of this stuff, it seems like a psyop, but I don't know. This energy hit me kind of hard. I think he didn't make it. Sure, gun on the taser feel different about different weights, and your training is different. Again, if you drawn, you talking about muscle memory when you under duress. And again, there was no real thing of duress. The dude just broke off from being handcuffed. He ain't shooting at y'all or nothing. He just trying to take off. And I put before, when I was a cop, it was a thing where you couldn't shoot at the fleeing felon. It's against the law. Now it seems like he was kind of fleeing when he got back in his seat and he drove off. So we'll see. It ain't helping. Will you be on later? No, not tonight, Rocky. I don't do the late stuff. These are my 2 days off of being late. I rest these 2 days. Looting Family Dollar. Your comments over the news videos are amazing, hilarious. Thank you, Sheest. Lucifer, my dude. I take back Lucifer. I don't think Lucifer is part of that. No, Rocky, I won't be on later. This is the nights I take 2 nights off. I found out I was just burning myself out. So they gave an excuse that's really a first. They showed a crime history of person first, so this might be real. Yeah. I just got a feeling. I got a little more in the feeling. I'm pretty sure this one was real. I'm not fooled by the energy, and I see the energy in this a little. If we are in a 7-year tribulation that started on 17, okay, I can see a movement being then. All right, I have to think about that a little more. Okay, good point. I'll look into that. Thank you for sharing that. Have you ever seen the Time Bandits or Brazil? That's what it emerges. AI is BS, paperwork system of bureaucrats. No, it's a machine called the me or the my. You've heard me say that a million times. That has been around for a long time, and it is in control, or it is fighting for final control, I'll say. The continuous trauma is either to break us into submission or set us off. A little bit of both, because some people feel beat down about it. Some people feel so. A lot of people just ain't cut to rationalize it, to be rational. Again, we have a president saying after violence, be nonviolent. What sense does that make? If somebody attacked the U.S. with violence, they ain't going back with their military being nonviolent. Why are the American citizens, especially the melanated ones, the only one asked for about to be like that? Yet, if they took a hit, they're going to respond. Shit, Pearl Harbor wasn't even in America. Here's a true story. My uncle said he heard on the radio that Pearl Harbor was bombed. He was in Decatur, Illinois. He heard Pearl Harbor was bombed. He went outside. Pearl Harbor's in Hawaii. So it wasn't like America was bombed. This is the mindset they want you to take. They want you to say, even after violence, you got to respond peacefully. That's saying be asleep. The thing is, he did something to attract all that. They have the bad plate and everything. That is the thing that people do. I was behind a guy, his plate said 20. This was about a month ago. So this is, I understand. But under the circumstances of the worldwide events, there's something you just let go. So, and over all that, you're never trained to just pop a dude because he resists. That's why you go through training. That's why the Floyd thing, he getting hit with the training. He was doing something that his training didn't show. And even the chief said, you do scenarios. They put you through scenarios. Their practice when you're going through them, but they still put you through them. Like I did one shoot test, and I ended up shooting the highest because what everybody missed was this little boy on a bike, and every time the little boy, like you shoot at these other people. This is laser gun, you shooting the screen. But what everybody was missing, I saw the little boy lean, and I could tell the boy had a gun because when he leaned on his bike, the gun weight showed. I was like, oh, this motherfucker turned. I'm going to shoot his little ass. And the little boy turned from the bike, and as soon as he started to turn and he appeared on the screen, I shot him. I was the only one out of about 15 that did that. But when the boy leaned, I saw that the weight of the gun made him lean. I was like, oh, I'm going to shoot this fucker. And I waited for it. But you practice. My point is, I'm ego tripping, but my point is you practice this stuff. He's talking to a pimp. Oh, okay. Oh, my son just said, my son was like, he dodged a bullet when he went back to Michigan. He just went back to Michigan. I don't know. With them sickness rates over there, I don't know about the bullet dodge. And I got to show this again if y'all didn't see this. This is kind of fun. This is really fun. Can you imagine this is a shower curtain and shit? You have a woman over, and she see this shit. It's a shower curtain. But I love them both, So something just to keep that energy around. I know the ins and outs of both men, the faults and strengths. But I like the Joe Frazier energy because Joe was willing to die for what he wanted in America Dream. He was willing to die for it. So there wasn't, and he was a warrior. And so in my life, I got to experience a real warrior. That in the continuous ball game, because boxing is part of that, this man was willing to give his life to be called the world champion. A thing that only a few brothers was able to call themselves up to that point. I think by the time it hit Joe, it was only 7 or 8. And we talking about 100 and some years. So I like having his energy around me. That MLK love your enemy shit proves he was the enemy. There you go. They say those American planes with Japanese coloring. Say those American planes with Japanese colorings. Well, I tell you this, read my soul. These Howard Hughes planes. Them Zeros was made by Howard Hughes, or they was his design. Because the history is Howard Hughes Corporation went to the government and wanted to give him his planes, and they wouldn't pay him enough money per plane. So he said, fuck it. He went to them. Look it up. So, yeah, I can see that point. And they knew about it, but they still kill people. I'll tell you this for a fact. I know people was killed. And I'll tell you why I know. My grandfather went in the next day. And my grandfather would never go back. My grandmother begged him. My grandfather said, hell no. See, I go back there, I think it's death. So they killed people. Understand that. I've got a firsthand knowledge that they killed sailors there because that was what he had to do. He had to go help he was in the Navy. And brother, too, he was a cook. So he had to help get all them dead people out of them boats that they couldn't out the water. So they had to do that for weeks. And he said that place reminded him of death. So he said he'd never go back there. So people got killed. Keep that in mind. People did get killed. Me and my goes back many names. The muse Lucifer, take out Lucifer. Lucifer is a different kind of thing. Happens to people who are immune. What happens to be to us? Stay immune. Keep training. Survive. That's what happens to us. That's what happens to us. That's what happens to us is you survive. You use your knowing. However, you got to survive and move through. I mean, this is we're at the end of certain time. I mean, that is obvious. And you really have to hunker down on all sides. The attacks now is from all sides. I mean, again, the propaganda for the next couple of days is going to be away from, these plunges is going to be more, this is going on. And they doing the O.J. Simpson stuff with Chavez. He on every day. There ain't even court TV anymore. And Chavez is still on every day. No, you can watch Chavez on the phone. So, hey, Overstand, thank you for joining me. So this is, consideration. This is like OJ plus some other stuff. But again, I showed, some brothers killing brothers again last night. So how how do you defend yourself when you still got people that's killing each other? How do you defend yourself? So there's no sides. That's the problem. There's really no sides. Because one instance I'm showing, the man against the people, and the next thing you say, well, look at this. Who is this against? This is the own people doing this. Like somebody said, they knew of a child getting killed. And not even feeling nothing because it becomes so often. There's been children down here just for nothing, shot in the house. When I did live the last time, I say the second to last time I lived in that area. My son went to a party, outdoor party the week before. He's 14, 15, somewhere in there. It was up the street, so he got to go. The next week was graduation or a pre-graduation party. And somebody just randomly shot and hit this girl who was about to graduate or had just graduated. Like 2 blocks from my house. I mean, I've told the story many times of a dude killing another dude right in front of my house. My son saw it. Dude shot him. The dude who got shot took off and ran and jumped the fence. And maybe they didn't kill him. Maybe they didn't kill him, but dude got shot. Maybe I'll take that back. He didn't get killed. Dude got shot and left his car and everything. It was probably a robbery, it seems. So who is the enemy? I know Nick Taylor points that out all the time. The enemy ain't just them. Remember you see shows where Platoon shows it. Remember in Platoon where you had the dude that he wasn't quite the top sergeant, but he was one of in rank, he was equal, but we had the one dude, top sergeant, and he was a little bit jealous of the other guy because the guy was more veteran than him, but yet he was under him, and he got his own guy killed. Remember that? Because he didn't want to get reported about the incident, so he got his own guy killed. You see a lot of movies like that. You see movies where, say they sword killing each other, and one dude is like from a different clan, but he's on your side, and he's just killing mugs, but he's looking at you. You see how they show in movies? It was like, these two dudes is really enemies, but they killing the people's enemy. But the one that hates the other one, who's jealous of the king or whatever, he's always looking at him, but he's able to kill about 20 people. And then he works his way over so he can kill you. Kill the person that's still around this same tribe. We got that. We have that right now. So you got to count on your friends. Hey, Sovereign Queen, there she goes. And you gotta be on the show too, because she kills it. Y'all ain't watching her stuff. She kills it. I am nowhere near. This is just old man talking. She gives you everything. So, salute. Thank you for joining me. Because research people, everybody ain't really looking, I've talked again on, they took the Pan-Africans down in New York and then they replaced them and doing the same kind of shit. And you still have these attacks and these slanted opinions. You want to tell the story, tell all the story. That's my thing. And then if people, where the pieces roll to, once where the pieces land, that's if you tell the whole story. That's how people bring in the information. That's my point. Other than meditation and prayers, how do you handle our new reality, spiritual welfare, and the status of melanated people and justice? That's why you never truly trust anyone. There you go. That's the last thing he said on Snowfall when he found out his girl was betraying him. And he has bad luck with girls. One popped him in the back. Now this one was working for his enemy. I'll say this, like I told this story yesterday, maybe I lost the place. In this book yesterday about crystals and how you can set up a crystal grid, and um, you set up like they had this grid for abundance and stuff, but it wasn't quite the abundance part of the citrine that I was looking for. I needed another aspect of it, and so reading this, I kind of and all my stones I carried. It's been a while since I told you or I showed yesterday I bought some essential oils, and so I hit them all with sound with the big sound bowl, and I gave them all oils. So I recharged them. Now the other things I do is I'm a social scientist in a lot of ways too. So I'm reading the book The Dying of Whiteness, which talks about it's funny. I'm reading this book called The Dying of Whiteness, and then Ancestral Productions hit me to it, and it's actually about a study of guns and gun laws and how the states with the most loosest laws have a lot of times the most suicides because of access to gun. Like one boy, the parents, his mother had like a 9mm on her dress table. The father had like a Magnum on his, not locked, and he took the Magnum and killed himself. But what you see over and over again is you see conservatives in these states, like when they're talking about Obamacare, they say it's too expensive. Socialism. But again, they're parroting what they saw these political people say, not really their own opinions. But let me tell you, I bring this up is because my mother had said something about Trump. My mother says, I'm just sick of seeing him. I'm tired of hearing the name Donald Trump every day. I'm sick of seeing him. Don't you know I'm reading this book? And this book was done a couple years ago. And this book is the same exact sentence. And it's the same exact spell. I'm sick of seeing Obama. I'm tired of hearing his name. No cap. The exact words my mother said a few months ago. So these are spells. So my thing is to see through these rituals and adapt and adjust. The things that throw at me, okay, I may have to make an adjustment today. So that's what I try to do is I'm like, okay, the system is hitting me this way. Then let's see how we have to adjust. And so there's not, a whole lot else I do. I do watch games. I have children. So I teach my children how to be good humans, interact with them, support them on what they do, support family. I get calls. People want to know some things, I help. I talk about going to get food, and I handed out so much food. Matter of fact, I'm supposed to go get more food this week, and everybody telling me they don't even want food. I brought them so much last time. It's a good feeling where people's like, yeah, I don't need food this time. I did see the young sister that's pregnant across from me. I think she's 7 or 8 months. I hope she's okay. I saw her car take off, but I think she got sick or something. So I hope she's okay. Saw the ambulance car. So I hope she's okay because I know she's 5 to 6 months pregnant. So that's what I do. That's what I do. I try to love people. I try to love people. That's why you never. It's enemies everywhere. Enemy everywhere. You can't trust really anybody. I mean, you have I don't fuck with a lot of folks. I've had the same best friend for 12 years. I know a lot of people. Don't get me wrong. I know more people around the country than I physically know here. I keep a very small, tight window here. So people around me know me. People in my area know from seeing me. I mean, most people would see me and say, I'm the old dude with the daughter and granddaughter. One lady, we go to the store before all this, she was like, well, you having a day out with your granddaughter? My daughter just looked at her. She just gave her the stank face. She looked at me. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I was buzzed too, and I just felt like fucking with her. Like, this is my daughter. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I just, She didn't know what to say next. She's like, "Well, your beard is gray, and I just thought you were a grandfather. I'm sorry." But my daughter didn't. My daughter's like, "What is wrong with you?" Oh, so everybody has an agenda, even yourself. Yeah, yeah. Capitalism is a motherfucker. It really is. I don't need too many new friends. Yeah, I don't. I just watch how people move. That's how I watch. I watch how people move and go from there. And it's people. It's solid people down here because I fuck with people. I know solid people, and I know the mindset down here. Mindset is very, very, very. Um, well, let's just say it like this. My friend owned his gun store. Last summer, they sold out of guns and ammunition. Now they're back operating and stuff, but this shit it's expensive. And these guns is, yeah. So these people down here is okay. I'll say that. They are okay. And it's a lot of soldier mindset. I see that too. So I'm comfortable down here. And that's why you always have to be strong no matter where you how you move. Because people always watching how you move. You never know the eyes on you. So sure people see how I move. And I move like a warrior. Always observe. Oh yeah, yeah. That's the thing we was talking about last night with the jaguar energy, and the panther and the cat energy is, before you make your move, you check things out. You listen. A lot of people don't listen. A lot of people get around other people want attention. So they don't pay attention. They don't listen because they want to pay it. You want like look at me, love me. They might not get it nowhere else. So here's their chance. They're 3 minutes of fame sitting in the store waiting on folks. uh, but I would rather listen than talk. I talk to my friend and she listens more, and it's like I can talk all day. She just listen, and I'm like, she's checking me out. And I have to be mindful. Oh, it's finally getting dark. What time is it? 8:09. Yeah, another 30 days from now, it won't get dark till shit after 10. But I am going to, for the whole month of May, I am going to sun gaze every day. Get that energy coming up and get that energy going down. Oh, and I'll tell you, I've been using the massage gun. Woo, I've been needing that thing. I got the ultrasound, I got the massage gun, and I have a 10 unit. You have to do therapy on yourself, everyone. You really do. My phone's been 2% for a half hour. You need to plug it in. I will tell you, I didn't even put hardly nothing on this phone at all. It's taking pictures and shit. I ain't putting nothing on this phone. I ain't putting Facebook on it. I got YouTube on it so I can edit, but all the other bullshit, I'm still using this one. It's lighter for one. Use your password. I don't miss that bullshit. Having to do that stupid shit. Turn it off. But wasn't nothing I want to look at anyway. So I'm glad because it's a better built phone, but it's heavy as shit. I'm always quiet and just watch people. Then I have to dumb myself the fuck down. Same here. I'm a man of few words, but love to listen. And I speak when it needs to be spoken on. When things need to be spoken on, I step up. But very few times. Let me tell you a prime example. I was at Audi's, and there was a Mexican brother in there. And I could just tell he was slightly timid. He used to rude Americans. And he's about 5'4", 5'5", 5'6", really shorter dude. But he was in front of me. And so how did we do it? It was like, but I was on the side. So just the way we were standing, I think we both switched lines. That's what it was. Audi sometimes they'll say aisle number 101 is open. People rush down to 101. And just the way we walked, I kind of beat him to the spot. But the dude had beat me there. I'm like, no, go. He's like, no, you can go. I'm like, no, you go. You've been here before me. I mean, why be a bully just to be a bully? I mean, energy-wise, I don't win in that situation. I break the energy because the way the flow of energy goes was me being patient. Whatever he did all day, he beat me to that space. He deserved the space before I did. So, it's easy just to, know when to hold them, know when to fold them. Just because you can do it don't mean you should do it. That's something to remember. Just because you can do it don't always mean you should do it. So, just consider that. Consider that in your daily movement. Yeah, again, it's not a whole lot of sports. I've been going on an hour. I wasn't gonna go too long. I don't want to go too much longer, but just wanted to come on here and the people to give me support. Thank you. Always try to put pertinent information out without a slant. Try to stay open minded to everything. I don't like. Again, I'm not gonna have people attack people, but that's not. I don't want that energy. It ain't for that. But you want to go attack and be attacked, there's a whole lot of spaces for that. Everybody got their right to say their mind. I'm not going to be disrespected, but people have the right to say their mind. Life is honestly a lesson. Yeah, it is. It is. But keep in mind, again, the way of life has ended. That way of life has ended. So your mindset has to change. And it doesn't mean because that lifestyle has ended that it's the end. It's not really the end. It's how we, as a cooperative, continue on. Because today, part of a new psyop. It's like they're trying to ramp it up. They're trying to instigate. So it is that aspect you have to believe. It's an instigation going on when it's already volatile. So we have to be mindful of that. But these times are becoming more volatile as well. So be mindful of that too. But until things dramatically change, you have to, handle your business the best way you can. Ah, okay. My friend said she's under curfew. I didn't know that. I didn't know they was. I wonder how she's affected. She lives like west. Hmm. She lives so far west. I wouldn't think we ain't affected. Fuck, if I want to go get me a burger or a drink, I can go. Liquor store stays open till 10. And the restaurant is right behind me. It's all open still. Go sit in there and watch some people trip me out. I smoke such good stuff that when you sit home, you don't even feel buzzed, and you go out amongst the world and you're like, I'm higher than these people. How did that happen? I'm like, yes, I am truly where I want to be. Just gotta laugh at people. And now you can mask it all up. You don't have to worry about if your breath stink anymore. Did you notice that? You don't even have to worry about if your breath stink anymore. Stink. I mean, do you know how bad your breath have to stink to get through the mask? So you don't really, you like their breath might be stinking, but it won't go through. Most masks stop the stink breath. In a way, that is a innovation. Especially if you work with that one guy that just, he would always see you in the morning, smoke a cigarette, drink some coffee, and want to come say hello. That dragon just melts your face. We still have mask rules. It ain't really, well, yeah, it is. It's a rule here too. They ain't take it off. They ain't take it off the books. You're still required. You're still required. Well, you're welcome. You're welcome, Dred. Just laughing. So it's none of that anymore, guys. It's none of that. So that's a good thing. You ain't got to smell dragon breath. You guys ever work with funky people? Now that ain't went away though. It seems like body funk seems to come through the mask. Don't know how stink breath doesn't, but body odor still gets through. So keep that in mind. You gotta, like Red Fox say, you gotta wash your ass and your pits. I remember my son was about 18 and he was like, his mother was like, what do you mean you don't wash your ass? He's like, I don't wash my ass. I'm like, what do you mean you don't wash your ass? He's like, I don't. I just let soap run down it. And then she came and got me. She said, this motherfucker don't wash his ass. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't wash your ass? You take showers every night. What do you don't wash your ass? Ain't you got a rag? I have a rag, but I just wash my underarms. Like, what do you mean you don't wash your ass? I just let soap run down my ass. That doesn't clean your ass, buddy. You have to do the rag and clean your ass. Then he looked at me and said, I didn't think about it. I thought soap running down was enough. Like, So when you was little and we had to wash your ass, you don't remember like we would wash you? Well, that was when I was little. So you thought that went away, huh? When you had to wash yourself, you just thought that went away. When you took baths, you just took the bath and thought that your butt being in the water was enough. And then as you got big enough to do a shower, you just really thought that was enough. And he said, yes. Like, oh, I must have failed you somewhere, son. I must have failed you because you're missing a point. So they all on it. Yeah, they are. So, you know, that's the kind of thing that you get surprised sometimes. Now, I've told my personal story. I didn't know I sat on the ring. Till I was about 12 years old, I put the toilet up and sat on the regular pissy ring. I don't know why. There was only a couple pissy rings I felt comfortable, my aunt's house and my personal house. When I was about 12 years old, my father said, you just shit and you left the toilet seat up. Why? I'm like, because I just shit. He was like, what do you mean you just shit? I'm like, I just shit in there. Just shit. He's like, you shit on the ring? I'm like, how? You supposed to do it? He said, what do you think that flap is there for? I said, for mom to sit on. Like, no, you have to shit, put the flap down and shit on the flap. My mother was like, didn't that potty train you? I'm like, obviously you didn't, because somebody taught me to shit on the ring. I remember that. It was like, you just get on this thing and you shit on it. So again, my parents failed me for 12 years. She swore she taught me other words, but why did I do the shit if you didn't teach me? So didn't make that adjustment until I was 12. So maybe my son, we got something like we just missed the point of the potty training in the shower. Alito, what's happening? So I don't know, guys. You just try to do your best as a human being. You try to be the best you can be. My little brother doesn't wash his face. He lets the shower water hit his face. He never has acne. That's interesting. Like what I noticed is people that work in like McDonald's and Burger King work around the grease. As a young person, you got to keep extra care of your face because you're working around all this extra grease. And so you got to be diligent. I get on my son, even though he mostly just does the burgers and the burner at Burger King. I'm like, you around that grease, you got to take care of your face extra. Like the neighbor had some shit grew on his nose, and I had a conversation with the shit. It was so big. Like, buddy, you got to pop that thing and, do your face like I told you 2 years ago. But you know how young people are, they don't listen. Luckily, I've never had to do that. Well, I did for about 2 weeks till I got a check. And then I told him to fuck you. And I was Chef Boyardee for about 6 days. My ex-wife made me do it. So I Chef Boyardee for about 6 days out of my life, wearing the Chef Boyardee hat. I've told this before. So for about 6 days, the dudes was dropping the burgers on the floor and said, hey, they're hot, and you put them back on, it kills the germs. Yeah, that told me that wasn't the business for me. I've told this story before. When I was about 12 or 13, my mother she brought me some face cream. It's the name of it, Noxzema. Thank you, Motivite. Noxzema. And I put face cream on my face until I was in my early 20s, and I never had bumps. I had cousins that their face got destroyed. Like my first cousins, all of them, destroyed faces. And my matter of fact, one of my cousins, she had acne so bad, her nickname was Bumps. That was her nickname, Bumps. And it was like her face was so bad. My other cousin's face, that we called him Cookie, because his acne was so bad that, when that shit gets dried up, it like chips off like little cookies. So we called him Cookie. My mother said, you're not going to look like them. And she was right. That shit worked for me. Now, I know it's a new kind of shit out there, but face cream is just face cream. Cold cream, I think, is the name of it, but the brand was Noxzema. And I used that shit religiously from 12 until I left. And I never had bad skin. I got old ass skin now. Shit be from these damn spiritual wars. We getting these damn bruises. People don't talk about that. But yeah, you can see where I got bruises where I've had to fight these motherfuckers. And you don't have the bruises on this side. You get the bruises on the other side, but you carry it through and you still got it. Just how it is. Well, guys, this has been Chocolate Mountain News. Thank you for joining me. This wasn't going to be long. I won't be on later. This is my night off, so I thought I'd come on and chop a little bit early. And for those of you checking me out, because I'm on so late, I'm sorry. I'll try to do this more to come on a little earlier, normal time. And so, as you know, I kind of just switch it up on this night. So till we meet again.